Behavioral and social sciences research helps predict, prevent, and manage illness in individuals and in whole populations. This research also helps people change their behaviors, understand treatments, and learn how to stick with them. Society's role is significant, too. Access to healthcare affects decision-making and behavior.
Scholars build their own personal libraries to support not only particular projects but also general reading in their field. They buy or make photocopies of materials when possible so they can come out themselves frequently, but write annotations on them. When moving into a new field, they add to the collections only concentrating on primary texts. It's time for this young loggerhead turtle to go to work. We can tether turtles in these little cloth harnesses, put them into this tank and dull swimming place. University of North Carolina biologist Ken Lohman studies sea turtles that are programmed from birth for an extraordinary journey. Mother turtles buried the eggs on the beach and then return to the sea, and the eggs hatch about 50 to 60 days later. The geosphere includes all the stuff that makes up the crust and the core of the Earth and everything natural and lifeless that makes up the surface of the Earth. Examples are all the rocks and sand particles from dry land to those found at the bottom of the oceans. The geosphere undergoes infinite processes constantly, which in turn modifies other spheres. Travel planning is all about the details. But while you may be a master at uncovering the cleanest hotels and practicing proper aeroplane etiquette, there's an element of being a guest that stumps even the savviest of travelers. Tipping etiquette, who to tip and how much of a tip to give, can be confusing. An inclined plane is a simple machine with no moving parts. It is simply an even sloping surface. It makes it easier for us to move objects to higher or lower surfaces than if we lifted the objects directly upwards. It is believed that ancient Egyptians used inclined planes to carry heavy stones to build pyramids. The root systems of vegetative cover hold soils in place and prevent wind and water erosion. It also ensures its supply of organic matter from dead leaves and the dropping of animal waste. The vegetative cover also shelters the soils from excessive heat from the sun. It helps to reduce evaporation and retain soil moisture needed for the breakdown of organic matter. The shorter days are a sign to trees to begin to prepare for winter. During winter there is not enough light for photosynthesis to occur, so as the days shorten throughout autumn, the trees begin to close down their food production systems and reduce the amount of chlorophyll in their leaves. Despite the fact that every woman goes through menopause, there's not enough research, Anna says. Our scientific understanding of menopause is vastly limited due to the lack of data. Menopausal changes are correlated with women's cardiovascular, cognitive, and overall health, so a database will allow us to better understand these connections.
Relish the fall colors while you can. Scientists think that the rich reds, oranges, and yellows of fall may be one of the many casualties of global warming. Leaves change color in part because of cues taken from dropping temperatures. As temperatures remain warmer through fall and winter nights, they could delay the beloved fall color shift. Misinformation is everywhere. It can be spread inadvertently if people make a genuine mistake. In today's environment, people get much of their news from social media, which lacks gatekeepers and therefore allows misinformation to spread fast and wide. People are being bombarded with information and it has become difficult for them to separate fact from fiction. Many scientists examining human impacts on coastal ecosystems have focused on agricultural runoff because fertilizers that wash into the sea carry massive amounts of nutrients and pathogens that can harm marine environments. But the impacts of human sewage receive far less attention. Part of the reason may be that, unlike trash or oil spills, sewage can be invisible in the water. Technological advances are eliminating the need for bank tellers, threatening an entry point for women into the male-dominated industry which has sought to promote more females to leadership roles. While the climb remains steep, some financial companies have managed to improve the gender balance in their executive ranks. As teller jobs dwindle, there's a risk that banks will raise the educational requirements for those jobs. Canada's first ever poverty reduction strategy is built on the vision that all Canadians should be able to live in dignity. It is also built on the belief that all Canadians deserve to be treated fairly and fully participate in the development of their communities. To be effective, the strategy must have transparent indicators, clear targets, and tangible actions.
The magnetic field is a vector field. At each point it has a magnitude and direction. The direction is defined as the direction of the force that a magnetic north pole would feel at that point. Since like poles repel and opposite poles attract, this means that the magnetic field goes away from the north pole of a magnet and towards the south pole. Designers of new nuclear systems are adopting novel approaches in the attempt to attain success. First, they are utilizing a nuclear fuel cycle that encompasses steps from the mining of ore to the management of wastes. Second, they are evaluating systems in terms of their sustainability, meeting present needs without jeopardizing the ability of future generations to prosper.
Gender inequality is one of the oldest and most pervasive forms of inequality in the world. It denies women their voices and devalues their work. Despite some important progress to change this in recent years, in no country have women achieved economic equality with men, and women are still more likely to live in poverty.
Occupational therapy helps people of all ages who have physical, sensory, or cognitive problems. It can help them regain independence in all areas of their lives. Occupational therapists help with barriers that affect a person's emotional, social, and physical needs. They also help kids to improve their school performance and aid their daily activities. It also boosts their self-esteem and sense of accomplishment.
Arms races may involve a more general competitive acquisition of military capability. This is often measured by military expenditure, although the link between military expenditure and capability is often quite weak. Such more general arms races are often observed among countries engaged in enduring rivalries, which may sometimes appear to follow each other's military spending levels. Archaeologists have reconstructed methods of timekeeping that go back to prehistoric times at least as old as the Neolithic. The natural units for timekeeping used by most historical societies are the day and the solar year. Calendars are explicit schemes used for timekeeping. The first historically attested calendars date to the Bronze Age, dependent on the development of writing in the ancient Near East.